Everyone, today, working as a engineer and backend on blog. So I think I don't know whether you are already like getting all the slide here or miners platform here. I guess you always one of our OG miner. Yeah, I think basically I will everyone a walks through all things well practically the points and also our yeah. So as you can see, I think the lot of things we used before do that good model into AI. So everyone could own the model itself instead of leveraging on the primary ones. So I think actually for the last couple of days I've seen some comments on the future of OpenAI and overall papers kind of water falls. Once the graphics eventually will something they will stop selling their model, they will turn off their API access and they will try to get more market from application level. That's also what we are seeing. What we're seeing, ChatGPT is getting more and more function added to it. Booking Cloud is doing the same. Because essentially, if for large part of our model, those kind of company, if they keep the API access, selling the model by token itself, it's actually hard to maintain their goal. Because for all other open source models, they can find different ways to steal from their part of the model, and essentially they can catch up very fast. So maybe that's one suspect that maybe in the coming future, we may lose the access to those kind of top tier parts of the model. They just want us to use the application, which is getting more tokens. So that's why we always believe that the Web3 to have their own model, like even the Web3 use cases, you should eventually have your own model to run the application. So for blog, we actually have three products here. So the first one is AI Arena. AI Arena is essentially cable-like platform for machine learning engineers to create, train, modify open source model for applications. So for example, I think after our mainnet launch, we have created a couple interesting tasks. For example, the first task the first model we do in our mainnet is a foundation model for Web3 agent. So the purpose of this model is to have exceptional function calling, tool use performance, all Web3 related tasks. So for this one, it's not just a mini agent of whatever. I think we actually announced a partnership with Base Chain on this model. So Base Chain just launched their Base MCP, and we developed this model even before Base MCP. So we are thinking, okay, we believe this model has an exceptional Web3 performance. Why don't we just try this model to replace Cloud 3.7 and directly use this model to using Base MCP, and it just works out of the box. And so that's I think kind of prove that the model train it can actually have par performance with prepared model in terms of different kind of domain specific use cases, scenario, and application. So yeah, for AI Arena, it's basically given a problem to solve, given an application to build. We are asking the community engineers to help us build the model. So essentially, it's outsourcing the demands to large machine learning engineer group community. Also, I think for Flock, we also have another platform that we are still doing the private data. It's something we call FL Alliance. I don't like for the audience here, how many of you have ever heard about a concept called federated learning? Yeah, so I think I can give a brief introductions here. I think maybe half of people have never heard it before. So normally, when we were training a large language model, it's more like let's say if I'm OpenAI and basically have those kind of web crawler, browsing the whole internet, grab the data, all the media article, all the whatever copyright protected or non-protected from everywhere, right? Now they're even scraping the images, right? From everywhere, and they just put it in huge computing cluster owned by themselves or Microsoft, right? And they start to using those kind of large cluster to train a model. So essentially, they will collect all the data and put it somewhere, right? So for federated learning, it's actually solve this privacy issue. So let's say for a lot of sensitive data or copyright protected data, right? So you cannot directly grab them. All they just don't want to provide us. Let's say I want to train a model and I want to leverage all the chatting history from everyone's Telegram, right? OpenID doesn't have any access, and if someone trying to buy that from me, I also have a lot of concern, right? It's pretty dangerous to sell the data as well. So that's where the federated learning comes into place. So federated learning basically allows people to the data and the compute, right? They stays on your own machine. So you are only using your local data to train the local component and train the model, and everyone just aggregate their gradient, parameters, and basically co-train this model together. So that's the way we think is the future of getting more data for AI to train. Because essentially even now, even the current moment, everyone knows that the open domain data over the internet is basically exhausted. Everyone's model has already been using all the data from the internet, right? And the next domain that is not being used is actually the private data, right? Especially in a lot of highly sensitive industry, right? Medical, law, finance, those kind of scenario. So definitely we believe federated learning is the solution to further train stuff. So how is federated learning somehow connected to blockchain? Right? It sounds like very decentralized, however, it's not necessarily relevant to blockchain technology, not necessarily relevant to token or whatever, right? So one problem we are trying to solve is that if you want to make these things permissionless, right? Let's say I want to train a legal expert or something, right? I want to gather data from all the lawyers, right? But one problem is that how do I know that the lawyer who claims to be a lawyer is a legit lawyer, right? What if the data they uploaded is just whatever fiction, right? It's not actually legal documents they write, right? So that's why we want to bring blockchain here. So essentially, we want to design a candidate that can leverage the majority of the federated learning participants to vote on whether each round of training is effective or not. If it's not effective, then basically based on everyone's voting, we will penalize whoever has ever contributed in this. And if everyone majority believes okay, this one is effective, it works better on my local data, then he will just vote, okay, yes, I give a pass. And then everyone who participates in this round's training will get incentivized, will get reward. So essentially, the blockchain here is used to solve this permissionless issue and also try to decentralize the process of determining whether everyone's contribution is meaningful or is poison, right? It's malicious or is denied. So that's why we use blockchain. So you can see Arena and the Federal Alliance is actually having a very interesting dynamic. So for AI Arena, it's more given the same set of data and knowledge, whether you can find the best architecture, best model, best way to train them. And once we finalize that, the issue is that okay, given the facts, training method, given a fixed model, whether you can grab more high quality data to improve this model's performance in certain area. So that's the philosophy behind this products. So I would, just give some example on some interesting use cases. I think we have helped hospitals from London, UK, and Korea and Beijing to cleverly trans glucose prediction model. So they are from different jurisdictions. They definitely don't cannot share data to a centralized place. So our technology has been helping them to gathering their data without getting so to train a model that has better performance. We also have built a whole solution for eye diseases detection for hospitals in London as well. So yeah, that's basically the overall design of the platform, floor platform. Also, I think we are now rolling out a new product called Moon Base. So essentially, is that after the arena and the clients, right? You build the model, right? You want to recycle those models. You don't want this model just to stay there and only one person will use it, right? So essentially, there will be multiple applications to leverage the same model. But now the problem we're trying to solve is that how do we incentivize the contributor? That's why we designed Moonbase. So Moonbase is basically when the application or agent coin, AI agent, when they are using one of our model, no matter whether they're launching a token or they're Web2 content that generating revenue, so we ask them to put this revenue back and or this the they launch back to a vault, who belongs to this, and essentially whoever participates this task, ranking by their performance, their contributions, they will continuously getting reward redistributed back to the vault. So this is one of our philosophy in design. This is basically like the build once, breed once, but you are earning forever. So Moonbase is basically helping us to keep continuously providing rewards back to the model creator. In such case, the model creator also have incentivized to keep improving this model when the application side, the model user side propose some new use cases, propose some more demands on the performance model performance. So yeah, I think that's the overall design philosophy of the one platform. Also, I think we have already launched. Yeah.
I have a quick question with regard to federated learning because those seem to be regulated industries. From your experience, have you noticed content creators wanting to, wanting to know how they can protect their data online? Say YouTubers, there's millions of them out there now. Content creators want to know that their data is not being scraped by OpenAI and being used superbiously or being used without their consent. I wonder if this is a new area to identify because there's lots of content creators now on YouTube and various other streaming websites. Have you identified that or have you investigated that?
Yes. So now it's pretty hard for a content creator to prove that okay, OpenAI has been using my data to train, right? Essentially, I mean, like maybe you can try to ask the model to repeat something, right, to prove that okay, it indeed copy my stuff, but they can also claim that.
How about every video that a content creator uploads as a watermark? And by the way, shouldn't it be Google or should it be YouTube asking for this kind of watermark on the content that they upload to YouTube? Shouldn't that be kind of something you would expect down the road?
I think for now, the industry practice is just when OpenAI or those kind of large companies when they're right, when they're scraping the data, they have to use a specific agent name so that it can be easily identified by the website, and the website has the option to basically tell you, okay, don't scrape this website, like you're forbidden, right? But this is based on the assumption that they are doing this honestly. right?
That's kind of like a slap on the wrist and.
Yeah, they are.
They might say, yeah, okay, thank you, I hear you, but I'm sorry, I'm still gonna do it.
Yes, you really hard for you to actually identify whether they're, even they're doing it even with your warning like a specific code and not, OpenAI agent is blocked here, but they can still do it. Like there's no good way to prevent that. Uh, that's why also why you can see like the scaling law, right? It's somehow slowing down. One reason is also that they actually don't care whether they can scrape more content from. Actually, they have already got enough data to track. That's why it's
Right.
scaling noise.
Well, DeepSeek uses synthetic data, and that's actually a very interesting way to make, let's say, AI models more efficient. It seems to be an interesting thing. But I just wondered about that because it seems to me that you put anything online, you don't know who's using it. I mean, who's taking it and using distillation for it. It's kind of a problem. Yeah, great presentation.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that now I don't think there are a good way to solve that. But that's also why, like for content creator, right? They are afraid that okay, my content get used for free by this kind of AI company, right?
Right. Right.
That's actually precisely why there are a lot of crypto AI company are designed for, right? I think you guys definitely have heard a lot of like data layer company, like Lana. What they're essentially doing is that okay, I cannot prevent you from using my data. Why not I just make some money by letting you using my data?
Yeah. Seems
So
be fair markets. It seems like a marketplace should evolve where you can prove your data because this is your web page.
But that's also why we believe there are two different paths to solve this problem.
Mhm.
The first path is that okay, I'm fine, I'm sending my data, so it's a fair game, right? You get my money, I give you my data, right?
Right.
That's a lot of crypto AI companies working on. For us, we are actually moving to the second path. Is that I don't give the data, but I do want to use a very good model.
Federated learning.
Yeah. So I contribute my data in federal learning, and I get the access to the final model, right? And this is also fair because essentially, you are using my data to train a better model, and I got the share of that model.
That's more legitimate as well. It's just more legitimate.
Yeah. The current challenge or like obstacle of this, moving forward is basically most of data they're on edge on your phone, your laptop, right? But normally the compute is not on edge, right? Like I'm not attaching.
It's still the cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not attaching A6000 or H100.
You can't.
Right? Like it's impossible to do that. So this is actually one challenging for federal learning. But we are actually pretty optimistic on this side, and also we have already built use cases. For example, you can now use your Apple device to do federal learning as well, like just using Apple Silicon. If your one MacBook Air has too little RAMs, yeah. In our demo, we actually allow people to leverage multiple back device.
Is that on the iPhone A18 chip and the iPhone 16? Because that's the only one that provides inference at the edge for something called Apple Intelligence. That probably is the only device on Apple that could do that, right?
Yeah. Also, why like federal learning is going to work is that we are seeing a clear trend that small language model can be exceptionally performant as well, right? Meaning that federal learning is more doable in the very near future because it's very hard to do those kind of cross content, continent, cross country, cross region, or 100 billion parameter thing, right? But it's not that hard to collaborate, train on 3 billion. And I think today's 3 billion model is pretty much this kind of better performance compared to the ChatGPT 2 years ago. I think you guys still remember like GPT is 3.5 turbo at that time, right? So now like 3 billion model can achieve the same performance. So maybe very soon, like 6 billion, 7 billion model can achieve like GPT-4 level performance, right? Essentially you are finding more and more efficient way to compress the knowledge into a smaller and smaller model. So this is very, very doable. That's why we believe like federated learning is the best way to leverage everyone's data on edge. Any more questions?
Any more questions?
Just repeat on the mode base, what exactly are you doing the mode base as a product?
Yeah. Now we are still designing the smart contract side. But the general philosophy is that so you definitely heard a lot of like agent launchpad, I create an AI me, whatever, launch a token on certain platform. So Moonbase is different from that. So for AI, for a launchpad, right, it's more like I launch a token, like I launch a coin based on a so-called AI agent, right? But for us, the base unit is actually model, AI model. So each AI model can be consumed by different types of AI agents or different types of applications. And this demands on the model, right? They should give incentivization back to the creator contributor of the model. So the creator contributor meaning that okay, you can either be training those from AI Arena. So we have a lot of high quality machine learning there. I think a lot of Kaggle master, master, they are not competing on the platform. They are creating model for us. Also, the contributor can be people who participated in the federal learning stage for this model. They are essentially devoting their data, but without sacrificing their privacy for sure. And we want to making sure the model usage, that the demand of the model, right, essentially converted back to the token and rewarded back to the people who have contributed to this model.
So
Yeah.
if I want to do block as a person, what do I need in terms of requirements and how does that work exactly?
Pardon?
Well, I mean, how do I be a participant in the arena or whatever?
So
Can you stake? Can you stake it?
yeah. So I think for AI Arena, it's fairly simple. For now there are 3 types of rule. One is training, something we call training nodes. They are experienced machine learning engineers. Currently, like each task, there are about like 40 to 50 of them, coming from different most of them are AI expert, right? For them, they are trying to train the model, fine tune the model, finding a way to synthesize the data, finding a way to train the model better, to train the model better.
Is there like an assignment that you're giving out there? Or?
Yeah, it's more like for each demand, it's more like competition.
And what kind of hardware to get involved?
For training those, it actually varies from the demands. Like for example, like for the function following model, like for the +1, right? You can see there is a context length, there's maximum number of parameters, right? That's basically an indicator on the expectation of the model. For example, I want a model that can be run on edge device, right? Meaning that maybe the maximum number of parameters putting there is like 4 billion. Like I don't want anything too large. And if you want to participate in this one as a training nodes, highly likely you only need it 30, 90, 40, 90, something like that. But for our like newest task, like it's basically what we are collaborating with one key. They are like bringing like hardware wallet manufacturer, right? They are trying to build a Web3 like a safety model that can do contract auditing, security loophole identifying, right? That would require the model to be relatively more performant. And for this kind of one, like we allow model that can be as large as like say like 20 billion, right? And the context length is also pretty long, so you need to digest a lot of smart contract code, right? So we really both. So for this one, if you want to participate, it's highly likely you may require a 100 as possible. So it's really vary from task to task.
Then you can also get validated, right? If you doesn't,
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't require.
So validator is more like you don't really need to have any expertise in AI. It's more like a traditional miner that help verify the performance of the model. So the reward of validators, since most of the validator on our platform they are running their machine like 24/7, they are doing honest work. So it's pretty much relevant to the staking. Like the reward is pretty much related to the staking.
Setting up a nose.
Yes, yes. And there are certain kind of roles called delegator. Delegator is basically investor, like they are just delegate their token to validators or trading nodes. So although I think the delegator is not as brainless as other platform, because essentially if you want to get the highest APY, you need to invest in the trading nodes because they have like variation in performance. So you need to identify who is most likely to win, or like you just judge based on historical performance. But now I think the platform is like super competitive. So it's pretty art to pick the channels you believe in, because essentially maybe on a super high APY, the channels you invest get like top 5 or top 6 ranking in the past 5 months.
And this is all working with the block token.
Yes, yes.
So does the fastest training node win?
Pardon?
The fastest training node wins, is it?
The faster chain. No, it's the final performance is not based on like how many submissions you have made or like how fast your submission is. It's actually purely based on the performance. So for now it's pretty straightforward, like loss calculation comparing to the whatever golden standard provided by the vendor. But we are in the progress of redesigning version 2 structure, where we allow for each different task, the task creator can define a different matrix that he's looking for.
So the model architecture is fixed, and you reward based on the loss.
The model architecture is not fixed. You can choose different kinds of model as long as they meet the requirements in terms of parameter size. But now the evaluation method is fixed. The thing that we are working towards is that we want to make the evaluation protocol flexible task by task as well.
So for each task, Flock team, they work with the customer, design like a whole like a out of back data. So they use that for the final validation. And that's how they calculate the loss. So what he's saying is that now it's only one default loss function for all the tasks, but in the future they will make it more flexible for different metrics.
The text being asked, right? Yes, yes, yeah. That's because once we have made the upgrades in terms of allowing different evaluation code for different tasks, we can now then open to different kind of tasks. Like for example, it's more like we can start to create more like Kaggle traditional machine learning tasks, right? Like a time series prediction, right? It's meaningless to do the loss. Like you have ground truths, right? Just calculate the difference between the ground truths, right? And once we allow the tailoring, right, in terms of the evaluation protocol, we can ask support for all different kind of machine learning models.
The people who are staking that training, are they all any same kind of model? For a given task with the model fixed, or
No, we only concentrate on the side of it.
okay,
They can choose different.
and then is everyone using the same data, or is everyone?
As far as I know, because I've talked with a lot of top training nodes, if they're using the sample data we provide, they highly likely they cannot get a top. They all have different ways to figure out more training data, either by smart ways to synthesize that from large model, or they are finding some different source to get more training data. So normally we only provide minimum number of data that just tell people what we want, what the model vendor want.
Okay.
But they are not large enough to train a decent.
Are you on sampling predictions, or
For now, like that's more like the inference part.
Yeah.
Currently, we are not doing the inference part. We are still like doing the model, but the inference part probably will come up with the one-based part because essentially we need to have a place to host the model so that we can calculate the usage of. But Flock is not going to do the infrastructure part. Like we are probably only going to build the gateway, but we will find the other operator like Hyperbole, IO, and we are hosted with them. Like they will probably actually hardware.
For the like rewards, is it like a similar model to Numerai? Like skin in the game type of it's where it's like the more block you stake on your model, like the higher your reward.
For validators, validators, pretty much yes. For training nodes, your rewards is determined by two factor. So basically, it's like this, right? First, we rank you by performance, and then you have a base ratio. Right? It's a geometric sequence. Like for example, like first one is like 10%, and the second one is 10% times 2.9, right? Something like this. And then we will adjust this ratio based on your staking, and the dedication on. So that's why like if you invest in the right talent, as a dedicator, your APY can vary a lot, right? Like because the base ratio is based on rank.
All right.
So I mean, as a delegator, you should also be looking at what the nodes are staking as well. Not just how well their model is, but like also.
Yeah, because essentially like you should include people's historical performance. Like we actually have those kind of very initial design. So if you go to like stake to earn, right? Yeah. I think that's the goal. Hey, Joe, what's your model?
Let's look up Joe. Yeah, the good Joe. I know he's been on there a while.
Oh, it's an
Look at you.
Oh, pretty trash the APY. You can see like for example, investing in Joe like at least for today is not a wise choice. Like for reasons, like if you go switch here, like this Dream Gallery, I know he's a pretty active training nodes, right? He actually got like 2 million stake on him. That's a pretty significant number. If you go to his profile, right, you can see, okay, the reason is that, okay, you see like this guy there, like one in silver, 3 bronze, right? You can see like historically his performance is not bad, pretty steady. That's how people make the decision.
Why were some of those APYs with red?
Oh, for some of the API rest is simply because they have just created their delegation pool, or they have just adjust their reward ratio, meaning that now the APY is
Unstable.
Yeah, unstable at the moment.
Oh, so you choose your reward sharing ratio.
Yes, it's basically for reward sharing simply means that let's say if my reward sharing is 50%, then today I earn like 100 tokens. I will first reserve 50 to myself,
Yeah.
and the rest of the 50 is a split. It's a split between myself and the validator.
Oh, validator.
So let's say it's validator. Yeah, delegator. If myself only stake 100, if myself stake 1 million and delegator only stake 100, is impossible for the delegator. So it's a split.
So I mean, if you're trying to get a higher, if you want to be a staker, I guess, then you want to look for a lower ratio, right? To, I guess, get more.
You actually want the people with higher reward.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the person that goes.
Yeah, that's supposed to sharing.
Oh, okay.
Any more questions? All good? Thank you.